the Premier League gambling podcast, Matchday 6 Picks edition on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook. Download the app now, use the code SGP. New customers can score $200 in bonus bets instantly when they bet just $5 on football, only on DraftKings Sportsbook with code SGP. We're also brought to you by Game Time. Snag the tickets without the stress. Use promo code CFBX on your first purchase to save $20. Download the Game Time app. Use the promo code CFBX. We're also brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Play the Underdog Pick'em in college or NFL and win up to 20x in one game. Use promo code SGPN at Underdog Fantasy for a 100% deposit bonus up to $100. And finally, we're brought to you by Hall of Fame Bets, the sports betting research platform for parlays, player props, and game lines. Download the Hall of Fame Bets app or visit hofbets.com. Use code SGPN to get 50% off your first month and start making smarter bets today. Welcome, everybody, to the Premier League Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. My name is Malcolm Bamford, coming from Newcastle upon Tyne in the northeast of England. Today is Wednesday, the 20th of September. And we are here to have a little look around the Champions League games that happened on Tuesday. And we've got some live action happening. So we can see some live bets coming in or getting mushed one way or the other. And then make our picks for Matchday 6, which runs Saturday and Sunday this weekend. Joining me is Mr. Barry Penaluna. Bazza, how are you doing?
Not bad. I'm just watching live scores going in as you're talking away. And one of my bets has gone right down the pan. As Arsenal have just scored the third. I took PSV to keep it tight, didn't I? But you're on the right side of that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm all right. Champions League started yesterday. Newcastle ground out a solid 0-0. Fortuitous at times. We rode our luck, but really good point for Newcastle. I enjoyed it being back and Newcastle being back in amongst it.
Yeah.
It was I was happy to get towards the end at 0-0 and think if we can just get one chance. And then we got that one chance, didn't we? And Sean Longstaff had one tipped over the bar right at the death. I mean, that would have been absolutely amazing if we'd managed to nick that. But got to be happy with that. 0-0 at the San Siro on your first Champions League game for 20 years. We'll take that, won't we?
Yeah, I was over the moon. Anyone with half a brain who I've spoken to since, for example, yourself, my dad, Simmers, all those type of people, everyone I was in the pub with. We went to the pub, we took all the kids. With it being an early kick-off, it was a good chance for them to get that experience under their belt together. Everyone thought it was a good result. There's your usual divvies online who think that it wasn't. There are even like some Munaf's been trying to knock me today, saying it was a terrible result, and he clearly just doesn't know anything about football. But I didn't care equally, as long as we didn't get humped 6-0. I just wanted us to turn up and perform. And it was great to see, to stand and listen to the music, like you said last week. And then even watching the telly, I was aware of the graphics and I was aware of the little Champions League ball with the little stars and everything and the little thing in the scorebook in the corner. But to see all of that with Newcastle on the pitch, it looked like a FIFA game, because the only time I've ever seen that in living memory, and the same with Bob, is when we play FIFA and we play the Champions League final, like Newcastle v Falkirk or somebody. So it was just nice to see that. I've just pointed over my shoulder here, Baz, because we've got it interlobe. Look at that. I know. It's too early for him.
You're single parent this week, aren't you, Malcolm?
Well, here, Barry, and here is the tale. This is tonight's lifestyle. The tale of my single parenthood. Unbelievable. I'm going to preface this, Barry, by pointing out that I'm incompetent and incredibly lazy. Now, those two things go hand in hand. I'm incompetent because I'm lazy. I'm lazy because I'm incompetent. There's certain things I'm great fun in the pub. I'll knock you up a lovely dinner. I'm a very thorough lover, right? Other than that, I've got nothing to offer, Barry. I've got absolutely nothing to offer you. So the IT department went away. Tea time on Monday. Now, it's not like she's been gone 3 weeks, Baz. She'd been gone when things started to go wrong last night. She'd been gone 27 hours. So we come back from the pub after the match, 8 o'clock. No bother. We've had a lovely time. So I'll throw Bob in bed at like 9:30 last night. And I see you later, mate. Close his bedroom door. As I close his bedroom door, the smoke alarm at the top of the stairs starts going off. But the dying battery type of going off. Do you know what I mean? Where it just beeps every 10 seconds. Or I think it beeps every minute. Like, but you can't leave it like that because no one will get any sleep. It's horrendous noise, isn't it? So it's in an awkward place. So I'm trying to balance on the top of the stairs to have a look at it. I can't get up. Betty has a look. It says you've got to shove a screwdriver in the hole, slide the case off. So I was like, well, right, okay, where's the screwdrivers? I've got no idea where these will be kept. Betty disappears off, 13-year-old daughter, returns a couple of minutes later with 3 screwdrivers. So she knows where they live. And then again, we're both up there. Can't get the cover off this thing, Baz, for 20 minutes, right? I'm shouting and swearing. I'm falling off the thing, nearly falling down the stairs. I was pulling my hair out. Betty's trying to do it. We just couldn't do it. This is the kind of incompetence that I'm on about. Like the minute one thing goes wrong, that's it. I'm shagged. I can't do anything. Eventually, so if you put the screwdriver in and then just flick it up, the thing pops off. So we got the thing off. And then I spent another 20 minutes trying to work out what to do. Long story short, the smoke alarm is now sitting in the conservatory out there wrapped in 3 blankets and like a tea towel and a towel because it's still beeping and I don't know what to do about it. Right? So I missed all the end of the football. I didn't get back downstairs about 10:15. That took about an hour. And then, so right, everyone, I come down and I said to you, I'm going to try and fix my internet because my reception's been a bit shit still. The laptop wouldn't work, the internet wouldn't work. It turns out the whole Sky network was down, all in the area, but I didn't know that. So I was trying to fix my own thing, which it turns out was an impossibility. So I had another temper tantrum there, went to bed. 3 o'clock in the morning, I woke up, Baz, and the bedroom doors, it was quite a windy night, quite a stormy night. The bedroom doors, bang, 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 banging. I was like, fucking hell. So I went into the bathroom, and I'd left the bathroom window open a little bit, the big window, not the little one at the top. And it had blown wide open in the wind, which is fair enough. However, A, I couldn't reach it to get it back in. And B, like, it must have blown open so much. It's I don't know what the word is, like hinges, maybe his arms. They'd like locked in position.
Yeah.
Bathroom, Baz, it was like Jumanji. It was so windy. It was like it was stuff like swirling round. There was flannels hitting us in the face. My spider plant was going. There was bottles of shower gel flying all over, like a proper whirlwind tornado. I'm hanging out the window at 3 a.m., delirious with tiredness, trying to close the window. So that was another literally half an hour out of my night. It was just an absolute fiasco. 27 hours. There's no food in the house. There's no clothes. It's like Lord of the Flies. Like the kids are eating their own shoes to survive. There's no cutlery, no crockery. It's just an absolute mayhem, Barry. 27 hours. It looks like we've been burgled. Every room in the house, it looks like someone's ransacked every drawer and cupboard and tipped it onto the floor. I don't know what's gone wrong, Barry. It's amazing. Any thoughts?
To realise how little you do around the house and how much Laura does without you appreciating it.
Yeah. It's absolutely wild. Like Bob's running around in like a loincloth with wall paint on his face. Everyone's just completely gone utterly feral. It's been an absolute shambles, Baz. So live football tonight. My picks are doing all right, you know. The first one I got paid out on, but we can't count it as a winner, Barry, can we? Because I took Copenhagen to win in Galatasaray at 4-1. Someone messaged you on TikTok. It sounded like maybe a Turkish fella. Wasn't very.
I was on YouTube. Someone commented on the YouTube just saying he obviously didn't fancy it because he said, "Have you not seen the Galatasaray squad with Ziyech and Zaha and Tete, various other big names?" But Copenhagen got off the flyer, 2-0 up. And as you say, betting on Bet365, you paid out at 2-0 up, so we both cashed that. Galatasaray came back later on after a red card and Copenhagen. Let 2 in, finished 2-2. Don't mind people coming on YouTube and, you know.
Oh, no, absolutely.
That's exactly what we're about. You know, we've no problem with anybody not liking what we put out. Our Discord channel is full of people that oppose anything we put out. Like, so,
very sensible people.
it's fine.
But yeah, I think I was quite pleased with my handicap. Was that it was just too close together. There were two quite evenly matched teams. Galatasaray had all the pressure, but then you look at a team. Ziyech isn't going to frighten you at all. Not interested. Icardi is all right, but a little bit old and busted. Zaha wasn't playing, so they had that Uruguayan fella in goal who you only ever see at World Cups. You know, that Mexican goalie who doesn't exist apart from in the World Cup with the curly hair. You've never seen him, have you? Ever?
No.
World Cup comes round, there he is. He's played every game for Mexico in the World Cup since 1958. Only exists. The Uruguay fella, the same. Like he's got hair like Willie Carson. So yeah, I was quite happy with the handicap, and then but I did get paid out. So I mean, it doesn't help anyone who hasn't got the Bet365 account. You did okay last night, though. The only one I got wrong, Baz, was Dortmund. Like I had the one I handicapped wrong. Got a couple of bets wrong. But PSG were much better than Dortmund. I said PSG weren't very good and Dortmund outplayed them. And I watched a bit of that game. It was really weird watching that game with an actual interest in it, like trying to watch Newcastle's next opponent rather than just watching some for sort of fantasy football purposes or what have you. And I was wrong. PSG were considerably better than Dortmund. But yeah, you went all right last night.
Well, it was a mixed bag for me. I mean, I got both picks wrong in our group. But the one I did well on was the Leipzig game. I took Leipzig to beat Young Boys. It was a good price. I took them on the Asian handicap -1, and they won by 2. They won 3-1. But I took them good plus money price, 11-8 for Leipzig to score 3 or more. So the 3-1 win there cashed a couple of minutes. And then the scorer treble. Took Mbappe, took Lewandowski, and the third one is Kane. We need Kane to get a goal in the second half against Man United. Or Kane and Osimhen would be a 10-1 accumulator on that. But 2-0 up Bayern Munich, but no Harry Kane just yet. Shane Wright's just jumped in the chat. Man United fan. He's dropping in since United are 2-0 down at half time. It's no surprise. They did start fairly brightly. I only watched the first 15 minutes or so. And then I tell you over to the family. And then by the time I'd sat down and turned this computer on and got ready to do this, Malcolm told me it was 2-0. But I thought Man United had started quite brightly. They should have. They looked like they were going to get off to a flyer in the first 5 minutes. But yeah, good time to join us, Shane.
Yeah, Clinton Morrison's doing the game on Sky, and it's all he talked about was Man U were making chance after chance. I think Pellistri missed an absolute sitter or should have scored. But my picks tonight, Baz, I've already landed a couple. Arsenal Asian first half. That was plus 325. So that's already paid out at half time. And I took a parlay on Arsenal, Bayern Munich, and Sevilla. Sevilla were my best bet of the week. They're 1-1 with Lons. But I've already received the early payouts for Arsenal and Munich. So Sevilla is my third leg of a treble, is the one I'm after. Arsenal on the Asian handicap, looks home and hosed. So yeah, going all right, Barry. And Premier League picks come out.
Be quiet in here. I mean, our live streams are going to get quieter now, Malcolm. On the Champions League on a Wednesday night, clashing with us, and then NFL on a Sunday night clashing with us. So we're going to struggle for people in the live streams at the moment.
I think you can watch the Champions League and listen to us at the same time. Like,
spoiler results don't know as they're going.
Absolutely. Okay, we'll move on and we'll make some picks on this weekend's Premier League action. I'll tell you first about DraftKings, one of our favourite sponsors here on the show. DraftKings are back with NFL action. Great offers every single game day. New customers can bet $5 and get $200 instantly in bonus bets. You'll walk away an instant winner by betting on these epic matchups. DraftKings isn't stopping there. All customers take advantage of 2 new offers every game day this September. Football's more fun when you're on the action, so download the app now. Sign up with the code SGP. New customers can bet just $5 to get $200 instantly in bonus bets only on DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL with the code SGP. The crown is yours. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details and state-specific responsible gambling resources. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. And Game Time, the ticket people, helping making buy tickets far less stressful than it should be. And Game Time is the fast and easy way to buy tickets for sports, music, comedy, and theatre near you. Things like flash deals and last-minute tickets, and the game time guarantee credits you 110% of the difference if you find tickets in the same section and row for less. So download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code CFBX for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Create an account, redeem the code CFBX for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Okay, how did you find this card, Baz? Easy, hard, indifferent?
Indifferent. I'd say there was a couple of games that I really didn't like. But then there was a couple where I went into it thinking, I don't know where to start with this. But then came out of it thinking I found an absolute beauty. So
nice.
We might be all right. I found a couple of good trends tonight. Actually, a couple of different things that might work out. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I've made 2 picks on games, like sort of correlated, a team to win and both teams to score. And I don't think I've made 2 in total over the hundreds of games we picked. But I just couldn't find a more suitable outcome. So, I've made 2 of them tonight. We'll have to see how they get on. I'll tell you what got onto my radar, Baz, and being of great interest. 4 teams last weekend came from behind to win in the Premier League. And that is just very, very rarely happens. If you score first, you've got an 89% chance of not losing, apparently. So for 4 teams, that's a big old parlay. You can do the maths on that one. But 4 teams went 1-0 down and came back to win last weekend. So, yeah, we'll have to see if there's any trend.
When you think about it, Malcolm, them 4 teams were all ones that you could have considered getting on in play because Spurs went down early, were favourites for the game. Villa went down and were favourites. Liverpool would be another one. And it would have been Man City, wouldn't it? They were 1-0 down to West Ham. So if you think about them 4 games, they were all 4 favourites to win the games. When they go 1-0 down, they're all games where you could consider thinking, yeah, they'll come back. Because I'm sure most of them were early goals to the underdog and plenty of time for teams to get back into it. But yeah, I think it would have been Spurs, Villa, Man City and Liverpool would have been the 4.
The one thing this weekend we need to factor in for the first time is the European stuff. And honestly, we don't know what's going to happen because obviously the 4 teams in Champions League action. And then the even weirder thing that happens is the Europa League. So Brighton, Liverpool, what competition are West Ham in? Are they in the Europa League? Are they in the Conference?
Europa League, Villa are in the Conference League.
Okay,
in the Europa League. So yeah, there's still 3 more teams in action tomorrow. And as you say, see what sort of toll it takes. I mean, I've covered it a little bit when we get to the Newcastle game because I thought Newcastle looked absolutely wrecked at the end of the game last night. But yeah, we'll cover that when we get to the Newcastle analysis.
So there's no Friday night game. There's no Monday night game. So everything's squashed into 5 games on Saturday, 5 games on Sunday. Nice split. And we've got 3 o'clock kickoffs on Saturday, the first of which is Crystal Palace against Fulham. Palace are 5-6, actually drifted a little bit, 9-10 now. Crystal Palace. The draw is 5-2, and Fulham are 13-4 plus 325. Crystal Palace are sitting in 8th place. They have 1-2, drawn 1, lost 2. Again, this is just kind of what Palace are. Scored 6, conceded 7. And that's, I think, pretty much what you can expect from Palace. They're going to be win 1, lose 1, draw 1. They're going to score as many as they concede. It's not going to be loads in either direction. They've beaten a couple of teams around them, and they're just very functional. Like I say, there's some teams who've surprised us. There's some teams who've been worse than we thought. And then there's a glob of teams that you kind of... And Palace would have been the ones you never thought were going to veer very far from the mean. They just haven't done for years. Fulham have got the same record as Palace, as it happens. The Goldhams is a concern. They've scored 5 and conceded 10. Their 2 wins were both 1-0 wins at Everton, when actually they were quite lucky, and against Luton. So they've beaten, I would say, nominally the worst 2 teams in the league at the moment and beaten them 1-0. I thought this was a really straightforward pick, but Palace are the better team. Palace have got better players. Palace are good at home. I'll take Palace 9-10, please. -111. Thank you.
Not for me, Malcolm. Not for me.
Here we go.
Two teams.
You love Palace.
I do generally, but I don't think they've really done much for me this season. Like, the two teams who are hard to split, they both played 5, both got 7 points, both 2 wins, 2 losses, 1 draw. Fulham have got the worst goal difference, but that's mainly due to the 5-1 defeat versus Man City. They'd probably be sitting here on the same goal difference if they played similar games. Fulham games have went over 2.5 in 3 out of 5. Palace, last 2 games both went over with 9 total goals. A bit odd when you look at the last couple of Palace games, because Palace are normally always these 1-0s, 1-1s, 0-0s. And then they've gone and had, what was it, a 2-2 and a 3-2 last couple of games? A 3-1 defeat and then a 3-2 win against Wolves. But although those recent games for Palace have had plenty of goals, I think they are outliers really. With the Villa game was 1-0 in the 87th minute, and even the Wolves, the 3-2 versus Wolves, that was 0-0 until 56 minutes. So it all went a bit crazy in that one. I think if I had to go goals wise, I would still lead towards the under 2.5 in Palace games at the moment. But not going for goals. I think it's hard to split the two on current form. I don't really want Fulham, but Palace have only lost twice. Palace have only lost twice since January at home. So I get what you say about them being in good form. They're hard to beat at home. And the 2 teams that beat them are Man City and Arsenal. So that's really why I don't fancy Fulham, is because Palace don't lose a lot of games. They're a hard side to beat, but they've drawn 6 of the last 12 competitive home games. And the last time these 2 played in May was a 2-2 draw. So I just think I can't split these at the minute on the form I've seen this season. And as I say, 6 out of the last 12 at Selhurst Park have been a draw. Give me the draw here. So I'll take Crystal Palace versus Fulham to draw 9-4 plus 225.
Is there going to be a correct score in that that selection there, Barry?
No, because I'm not allowed to make it 1-1 of the week. But
I haven't got one this week, and I really want to play the song. So if you want to, you can have it.
No, I think this could be a 0-0 or a 2-2. Equal, so I'm not going for the 1-1 of the week.
You're not playing the song. Sorry, Pat. Your song will not be played because I haven't got one, and Barry's being belligerent. So that's one of those things. Serial's just joined because it's half time. Now, Baz, I think if you promise not to spoil anything for Serial, I think Serial should be allowed to stay for the second half. You have to put yourself on a 90-second goal delay. If you can do that, then Serial can stay.
It's only a Kane goal that might get me excited because that's troubling. But I can be quiet.
All right, there you go, Serial. He's promised to be quiet. 3 o'clock. Luton Town take on Wolverhampton Wanderers. Luton are 11-5 plus 220. The draw is 12-5 plus 240, and Wolves are 6-5 plus 120. Barry.
Yeah, so Luton, the last team in the league without a point, 4 defeats from 4. They have been getting a bit closer, though, having started with 2-3 goal defeats to Chelsea and Brighton. It's been single goal defeats against Fulham and West Ham lately, so a bit of progress, you could say. They've only managed 2 goals so far in their 4 games, but they have had an XG of close to 4.5, so it's just they are creating enough chances to possibly have been doing a little bit better. Wolves haven't fared much better, just 1 win from 5, and that 1 win came against Everton, and everyone beats Everton. In a game where Everton probably should have got something, though. I think Wolves were probably a bit fortuitous to come away with a win in that one. So Wolves not playing great. I think it could be an opportunity for Luton to do something here. I don't particularly want to take Wolves away from home at 6-5 plus 120. But then I don't really have any strong feelings either way. On the money line market, there isn't really an outcome in this game that would be a huge shock to me. If Luton were to get their first win of the season here, I wouldn't be massively surprised. Similar if Wolves were to go there and sneak a win. So I just went to the goals market. I'm going to take over 2.5 goals. 3 of 4. Luton have only played 4 games. Have all went over 2.5. And 3 of the last 4 Wolves game also went over 2.5. So I'm getting evens for over 2.5 goals. And it's hit 6 out of 7 games, or 6 out of 8 for these two teams. So the pick for me, Luton v Wolves, over 2.5 goals at even money, plus 100.
You're very indecisive, Baz, on these first 2 games.
I know, I'm all over the place, aren't I?
That's all. I quite enjoyed it, watching you squirm a little bit. Luton have been competitive in spells, and they have had a tricky start to the season. The fixtures haven't been ideal at all. And the last 2 games, they've only lost by 1. I really want them to do well, and I think they can do okay. But this is an opponent in Wolves that I think can pick up points. Because I've been on them a couple of times, and I think they've been unlucky. I think they were unlucky, certainly against Liverpool last weekend. We talked about that header. Is it that Cunha's header? Would have passed us a 7-1 winner. So Wolves are really hard to assess because the record is 1-1 and lost 4, and they keep playing well but losing, which isn't a great sign. Or is it? Do you know what I mean? Do you take the positives that they're playing well and say, well, they can play well and lose? What's the point of that? Because that'll get you a certain amount of credit. But that's about as far as it goes. But Liverpool and Man United, they could easily have picked points up from. And it'll get you a certain amount of credit doing that if you win games like this. There's no point playing well at Man United and getting chinned, playing well against Liverpool and getting chinned, if you then turn up against Luton and get chinned. I've got to give Wolves a chance. I wish it was somebody else. I wish it was Palace or Fulham or Brentford or Everton. Any other team, I'd take Wolves. However, I'm going to take them here. 6-5. It's a little bit like the Palace pick. These 2, my first 2 picks, were just really route one. It was a better team with the better players at odds against. So I'll take Wolves to follow up my Palace pick. 6-5 plus 120. We'll move on. Liam's having a chat, saying he likes the show. He's trying not to stick around too long, Liam. Fair enough. Let's go steady, be all right. Big and Baz are, we're
going for the lifestyle chat. But,
Yeah, exactly, yeah. We've spent years just being absolute DJs, so it's not a problem, man. We'll just keep a lid on it. Yeah, and the lifestyle chat, second to none, Liam. So, yeah, we appreciate that. Where are we going? Manchester City against Nottingham Forest. Man City are round about 1-7, minus 700. Nottingham Forest are 18-1, and the draw is 17-2 plus 750. As usual, 1-7 shot. It's hard to analyse the game because you know what you're going to get from City, and then you've got to try and find an angle in. We saw a similar comp game last week against Fulham where they won 5-1. We saw a kind of similar comp game against Belgrade in the week where they won 3-1. So you're trying to factor in Forest and what can Forest do? Forest were bang average against Burnley the other night. They did pick up another point. They could have got beat quite easily. My angle is, Baz, Forest have scored in every game this season. They scored in 7 consecutive games at the back end of last season. Like I say, we've just seen City concede against Belgrade. We saw them concede against... it was West Ham last week, not Fulham. But we did see them concede against Fulham the week before that as well. Sheffield United scored past him. Both teams to score, as much as Man City have been defending quite well, both teams to score is 5-4, which is plus 120. And I think because we've seen so many comp games where City have conceded 1, and like I say, Forest on an 11-game scoring streak in the Prem, I think that's a fair price, Baz. Both teams to score 5-4, plus 120. And I will remind you, if Serial's here, don't say anything, Baz.
He'll know by now.
Do you think?
Yeah. I mean, I've gone with a similar pick, not the same pick, but for certainly similar reasons. We're looking now at the only 100% team in the league, won 5, scored 14, conceded 3. But they've conceded in each of their last 4 games, including last night's Champions League game. So as you say, teams can score against City. Very rarely score more than 1. but they can always get. You've always got a chance of getting one. Forest, say they're off to a good start, 7 points, 2 wins, 2 losses, and a draw. They've been competitive in every game. The defeats to Arsenal and Man United were just a single goal. So can they keep it tight here against City? I'm not quite convinced of that. But I'm like you, I do think they can score here. They scored, as you say, in all 5 of the league games so far. So I did look at the handicap for Forest, but I think it was Forest +2 on the Asian handicap. And I just thought I'm probably looking at a push at best. Because I think City will go and win this something like 3-1 or something like that. I think Forest will get the goal. But I didn't fancy City on the handicaps either. You've got to take City to win by 3 or more to get plus money on the handicaps. And if you want to back City goals, you've got to back them to get 4 or more. And it was just a bit too short for me, City. So I went with a similar thinking. Forest will score, City will win, and they'll win something like 3-1. So I went for over 3.5 goals for me at even money. And if Forest don't get their goal, City are more than capable of putting 4 goals past anyone at home on the day. So the pick for me was a similar thing for similar reasons. Over 3.5 goals, Man City, Forest at evens.
Evens, yeah. You've got that little safety net in, which I think probably accounts for that sort of 20 points that you're taking from the 5-4 down to evens. Like, he's lagging here behind me. He just farted dead loud, right? And I think he forgot that. And so I just turned around and looked at him, and he had that face on. I was like, sorry, I didn't realise I was meant to be being quiet. Because he said I could stay there if it was quiet. It's honestly, it's gone. The entire household's out of control. But so Man United have got one back, is what we're alluding to. Serial, you must have seen that by now. I think he's gone anyway. He doesn't trust you, Barry. Rasmus Højlund has got his first goal for Manchester United, buying 2, Man United 1. A little bit of a sweat. Next up is the tea time game on Saturday, which is Brentford against Everton. That is a 5:30 kickoff, which is 12:30 Eastern time. But we'll get stuck into that first after I've told you about Underdog Fantasy, a great way to play alongside your favourite football team, your favourite NFL team, that is, all season long. You can win up to 20 times your money in a single game by going 5 for 5. It's a fantasy game, but you can win real money. $100,000 Sundays continue on Underdog Fantasy. Total of $2 million in prizes all season long. 100K in prizes this week. 10K to 10 people this week. New sweepstakes every week of the NFL season. This week's higher or lower is Tyreek Hill. Receiving yards, 91.5. Higher or lower. Even if you're wrong, you get a chance to win 10K. So watch along, make your picks. Maybe make a little cash over on Underdog's mobile app or website. That is underdogfantasy.com. Oh, Barry, Serial might have just spoiled that one for us. Barry's got 2 hands in the air, Barry. Tell us all about the... is that a 10-1 winner you've just landed?
I can't see what happened to the outcome of a penalty, but Serial told us that Kane is stood over a penalty at the moment. And that would mean a winning treble for me from the last show.
It's a goal, man. It's a goal.
Yeah, it is. I knew that, but I didn't want to spoil it before Kane had stood up and took it on American televisions. But yeah, European podcast through the week. I took the treble goal scorers, Kane, Mbappe, Lewandowski, 9-2, and added in Osimhen as an extra pick for 10-1. So if Osimhen can step up in the next 40 minutes, that would be an absolute beautiful finish to the week. But yeah, happy with that Kane goal.
Mbappe was very good last night, Baz, and I cannot wait to watch him running around St James's Park in a couple of weeks' time. I'm quite excited about it. I want to see his face when Dan Burn leathers in, like Andy Griffin versus Juventus style in 2003. Looking forward to that. Brentford v Everton. Brentford are 3-4. Which is -133. The draw is 11-4 plus 275. Everton are 7-2 plus 350, and this one's on you, Baz.
Yeah, so this was one I didn't like, and I think it's just because I don't want to sound like a broken record every week by just coming in and saying Everton are shit, Everton are going to get beat.
Oh, that's brilliant. Favourite bit of the show, Baz, this.
But here we are again. So that was my starting point. Was Everton are shit. Everton will get beat. Brentford at 4-5 was what I looked at. But then the more I looked at it, the less interested I was. Because Brentford have only lost one all season. Newcastle served them their first loss last week. But they've only won one also. They've only beat Fulham. And Everton have been shit. Only got 1 point, only got 2 goals. But they've still only been well beaten in that one game against Villa. They're managing to keep themselves in games. As you said, they were happy to lose 1-0 against Arsenal last week. They had the 2-2 draw Sheffield United. Wolves was another 1-0 where they were really unlucky not to get something from it. So I'm actually going to give Everton a chance here, Malcolm. I'm going to give them 2 chances. They're going to get 2 chances. Everton double chance at 19-20, minus 105. So just short of even money for Everton to get a point out of this. It's 2 teams with only 1 win between them in 10 games. And for that reason, I think the draw is a real good price as well. I like the draw, 14-5 plus 280. Brentford Everton draw would interest me as well, definitely. But yeah, the pick for me is Everton on the double chance market to win or draw at 19-20.
2 bets then, Baz, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, 2 bets for Baz on that one. He doesn't like to just take 1 bet. Why take 1 when you can take 2? Exactly. Looks like Neil Warnock might be bowing out of football, Baz, with a defeat, unfortunately. Huddersfield 1, Stoke 2. We like Warnock. He's all right. I came down on the side of not picking Brentford to win either. I think it's the most likely scenario. But like you say, they are not winning those games. They did okay at Newcastle, but they've had 3 home draws against Spurs, against Palace, and against Bournemouth. Now, that's a pretty reasonable comparison games, particularly Palace and Bournemouth. So it's hard to trust them at home to win at that price. Everton suck incredibly hard. I did have a little run, even kind of in their defence, actually, on Sunday night, whenever we did the show. Just because I think Dyche, the players deserve a little bit better than what he's asking them to go and do. They should be able to go out and attempt to do more than what he tried to get them to do last Sunday. It was fucking horrible, absolutely horrible. I think he's doing them a disservice. I don't want anything to do with Everton to win. So I do think Brentford will win, but there's a selection at a bigger price that I like, and that's a Brentford team total, Baz. That's over. So the team total over 1.5. Everton defence is very bad. They kind of got away with it last week. Eventually, Arsenal broke them down and won it 1-0. But Brentford have been look good going forward. They look good going forward against Newcastle, even though they didn't score. And Bremo and Wisser still look lively. I think Brentford could get 2 goals, and that's at 5-6 minus 120. Okay.
Yeah, I looked at that pick, to be honest. I did look at it when I was looking at the Brentford side of things. It did interest me, but I just thought I'm going to give Everton a break this week, and I'm going to give them a chance.
Okay, good. They've got some fixtures coming up, like 4 fixtures that they really need to take 6 or 7 points from, just to give them some kind of hope that they can.
You could say that about the last 5 fixtures, Malcolm, because they had the easiest run of anybody starting the season, I think, in terms of fixtures. Yeah,
fair enough. You can make a good point. Saturday night, 8 o'clock. What's all that about? Did you hear they're going to start doing 6:30 on Sunday night kickoffs, Baz?
I did, yeah.
That's shit.
Just imagine an away day at Bournemouth, 6:30 in the afternoon, and then you've got to try and find a train that gets you back.
Yeah. Crap for the home fans. It's crap for the away fans. I know Sunday night, we like NFL and stuff, so, and things like we like Sunday nights. Because you've normally had a busy weekend. You've got kids' football. If you play on a Saturday, you play Saturday and Sunday. And then it's the Sunday night is your chill time. So you could sit and watch a game on the telly. But yeah, Sunday night, just traditionally, because it's always been for other stuff. And there's football on nearly all the time. And Sunday night's the only time there isn't football on. For something to stick a game on there, bollocks to that. This is Saturday night, 8 o'clock. 3 p.m. Eastern, which is also a little bit weird. This is Burnley against Manchester United. Burnley are 7-2 plus 350. The draw is 16-5 plus 320. And Man United are 4-6 minus 150. On the subject of Manchester United, Barry, I have a nomination for the tit list. I would like to nominate Rio Ferdinand to go on the tit list. He's a tit, that's not in doubt. I mean, but this isn't a list just for tits. I think you have to qualify. And it's the, you know where I'm going with this, I think. He did the old, it's all the Glazers' fault thing the other day. They're a disgrace for all the reasons he listed. And it is coming to the Newcastle stand, having that famous speech that the Newcastle fans should say thank you to Mike Ashley for what he does for the club. Yeah. And it's either a lack of self-awareness, and the bloke's clearly thick as a whale omelette. Fair enough. That's not his fault. He's thick. So he's either trolling or he's thick. Either way, it's not acceptable. Tit list for Rio. What say you?
As you say, his opinion about the Glazers is fine in isolation. But as you say, there was that statement where he told Newcastle fans they should be grateful for Mike Ashley, where Newcastle fans were in exactly the same position. They didn't like the owner. They didn't like the lack of support for their manager. They didn't like the lack of communication with the fans. All the same things he's arguing about at Man United. He said Newcastle need to shut up, stop moaning, be grateful, thank him. And if you don't like it, he told Newcastle fans, go and stick your hand in your pocket and buy the club yourself.
We had to buy our own players, didn't we?
So why doesn't Rio Ferdinand go and get all his mates together and go and buy Man United himself if that's what he wants? But yeah, tit, get him on.
Yeah, he's on. He's going on now. He's at number 4, but it's we've now got double Man United link.
I tell you, it's not a ranking system, is it? Until we have to.
No, it's not a ranking system until you want to put someone on. We're only allowing 6 on there, aren't we? Yeah. So if you want to put another one on, you've got to move one off. So as it stands, we've got Mike Dean, Jordan Henderson, Mark Goldbridge, and Rio Ferdinand are the 4 tits. This game, Burnley did okay against Forest the other night. It was a decent game. They could have won. A spurious VAR handball cost them the win late on. You picked them as well, Baz. That would have been a nice win. It was their first point. They've had a difficult run of games as well. And obviously that continues here with Manchester United at home. Lyle Thomas will be suspended for them after his sending off. Manchester United, obviously it was quite a hard handicap in the fact that they're live as we speak. But they've been right under the spotlight lately, and rightly so. But I still think they give an average look. They kept, in fact, we were talking about earlier on, Wolves keep playing okay and getting beat. It's that kind of thing again. So Man United have had a couple of wins, but then I think the better performances have been in the games that they lost. The Tottenham, they could have got points. Arsenal, they could have easily won. And then we've joined this show tonight when Manchester United played really well for 20 minutes and then found themselves 2-0 down. So is it a positive thing that they're capable of playing well in spells, or is it negative that even when they play well, they're still getting beat? I can't pick Man United to win. They're too short. I want the Man United team total, but that's too short. Over 2.5 too short. All my things I went to instinctively were sort of 4-6. I wasn't interested. I can't see Manchester United keeping a clean sheet either. They just never, ever look like keeping one. They've conceded 3 again tonight. I know Burnley aren't Bayern Munich, but Man United have conceded against everyone they've faced, apart from Wolves, and they should have conceded that day. So this was one of the 2 picks that I made earlier on, Baz, that I said I wasn't hugely keen on. Well, not hugely keen. I've just never given out before. And it's Manchester United to win with both teams to score. The price is 21-10 plus 210. I think Man United are going to win 2-1 or 3-1. I don't like having to correlated things in my pick. I know I like to keep it fairly clean. You like to meander off, and that's fine. That's kind of your thing. But I've done it, and I've done it again in a little while, so I don't know why it got me. But I couldn't find something else, Baz. There wasn't anything.
Don't beat yourself up about it, because I've got 2 picks in this game as well, so that's absolutely fine.
All right, okay.
I've gone
down. I've done 1 pick, by the way. There's only 2 outcomes, Baz. I haven't got 3 outcomes like you.
No, this is a very similar pick to yours.
Okay,
to be honest. If you let me get to it, Malcolm, you can just deal with it then, you know.
Okay, go.
But I mean, with Man United, I start where I start most weeks with Man United at the moment. I just don't want anything to do with them on the money line personally. So I'm not going where you're going. I don't want to back them to win. Away from home at odds on, not one bit. Can't have that at all. Man United's away form this season, played 2, lost 2. If you want to go back a bit further, competitive games away from home, so not neutral venues in cup finals or semi-finals, any of that. Last 5 away from home, they've lost 4, won 1. They beat Bournemouth towards the end of last season when Bournemouth had packed up and gone away for the season. They scored just 2 goals in those last 5 away games. If you want to go back even further, last 10 away games, they've lost 6 of them and failed to score in 5 of those 6. So 5 of the last 10 games, they haven't even scored a goal. Conceded 10 just in the last 4 games alone. We can call that 13-5 now if you want to include the Bayern Munich game. Anyway, enough about Man United. That's the negatives of Man United for now. Burnley have had a difficult start. They lost the first 3 versus Villa, Spurs and City. Picked up the first point against Forest on Monday. And I think they showed some of what we thought we'd see from them this season. I think they were really unlucky not to get all 3 points. That disallowed goal, I think, was ridiculous and should have stood. But plenty of positives from them. Koleosho looked a real lively player, looked a real threat. I think could definitely cause problems here against an underperforming Man United defence. So Burnley might not have any points, but they have only been kept out once, and that was against Man City. City are the only team to have kept a clean sheet. So they've scored 4 in their other 3 games. They put 2 past Spurs, 1 past Forest, and then I can't remember the other one where they got another point against someone. Can't remember who it was now. So I think they can score, same as you. I'm immediately drawn to goals, and it was a bet that I tried twice yesterday and failed, but it's both teams to score and tagged on with over 2.5 goals. Because like you, I think it could be a 2-1 either way. I wasn't far off taking Burnley as a pick. But yeah, the pick for me is Burnley Man United, both teams to score and over 2.5. It's a price of 10-11, minus 110. And as I say, I was tempted at Burnley at 7-2. I didn't go that way. But yeah, I can see goals. I see both teams to score. And one side will probably nick it 2-1 or 3-1.
Okay, moving on to Sunday. We've got 4 2:00 kickoffs, which is 9 a.m. Eastern time. The first of which is the North London derby, the game of the weekend. Arsenal take on Tottenham. Arsenal 7-10, minus 142. The draw is 16-5, plus 320. Tottenham are 16-5, plus 320, Baz.
Yeah, so this should be a good one. And as soon as I opened it up, I had one pick in mind, and that was Arsenal to win. I did hope to see a better price for Arsenal, as I think there's been a bit of an overreaction for me to the Spurs start of the season. And I thought the books might undervalue Arsenal a little bit. I mean, that's not to say Spurs don't deserve any credit. But they have had Sheffield United, Burnley, 2 of the promoted sides, and Bournemouth in the last 3 games. They needed 12 minutes injury time to say off Sheffield United. There's no doubt they look a better outfit than last season, more organised, more of a plan. And I understand the excitement from their fans. I'm not bashing them for that at all. But I just think from a betting perspective, I still think I want to temper expectations with Spurs a little bit. They have scored 2 or more in every game so far. If people fancy following that trend, 7-4 you can get for them to do that again, so plus 175. But I fancy the Arsenal side of this more. They are unbeaten, 4 wins and a draw. And I mean, we have pointed out in recent weeks where they aren't blowing anyone away. The 3-1 against Man United was the only win they've got. That's by more than a single goal. So I didn't want to take handicaps to push the price up. Arsenal at 7-10 is a little shorter price than I'd normally like to put up as a main pick. So I want to try and get as close as I can to even. So I've done a very similar thing, Malcolm, to the previous one. It's a bit strange how we've both went with these little double plays in the same week. So I've gone for Arsenal and over 1.5 goals at 10-11. So I'm just getting it a bit closer to evens, but taking the 1-0 out of the equation. Because I fancy Arsenal to win. So yeah, the pick for me is Arsenal and over 1.5 goals at 10 to 11.
Okay. So I struggled a bit with Arsenal. They've been very steady, is what they've done. 4 wins, 3 of which by 1 goal, and there's no real patterns for them in over/under, or both teams to score. Tottenham have got the same record as them. They have won 4 in a row, and it's the Tottenham goals, Baz. So they've scored 2-2-2, 5 and 2, as you alluded to. All results are in play here. So it was hard for me to come down on a side. It was a tricky game. I think the one thing for certain, one thing that I'm happy with is that Tottenham are going to go for it. Arsenal conceded at home against Forest. They conceded against Manchester United. They conceded 2 at home against Fulham. You mentioned my pick, Baz, in your analysis. Spurs team total over 1.5, 7-4 plus 175 would be my pick here. Liam's asking about the Villa game. We're going to get to that in 2 games' time. Jack Clark's just scored a goal for Sunderland, Barry, and we don't like to say nice things about Sunderland. But it's a very good goal. He's a very, very good player. He scored 2 again tonight. I would love it if we went and pinched him off them. That would be great. But he's absolutely outstanding. Great goal tonight. Brighton take on Bournemouth. Brighton are 9-25, minus 277. Draw is 4-1. Bournemouth are 13-2. Plus 650. Yeah, so everybody loves Brighton, don't they, Baz? Everyone just windmilling the willies around every time you mention Brighton. They've had back-to-back wins against Newcastle and Manchester United. The one staying on their record is that home defeat against West Ham. Bournemouth are winless so far, 3 draws. They played okay in patches. Did well in the first half at Liverpool. They got a draw at Brentford. They held Chelsea. My angle on betting Brighton, I'm still going to be looking spots to fade them. You got them against West Ham, didn't you?
Yeah.
You got them against Everton at the back end of last season. I got them against Forest. They could win 5 out of 6, and you're going to get paid out when they lose the 7th one. So also factoring in the Europa League, which we don't know really how that's going to affect them. They haven't got they're at home this week. So they're not coming back from Tel Aviv or somewhere. However, Thursday, Sunday, for whatever reason, is traditionally hard. The way Bournemouth set up, the way Iraola sets them up, is perfect to hit them on the break. Bournemouth defended well against Chelsea. I'm going to take Bournemouth at 13-2 plus 650, Baz.
Ooh, bold pick. I like it. I've gone a different way. I've got a pick that I love. And it might not win, but I just love the theory behind it. I like what I found. And the logic behind it all fits in. So it is a tricky one. I'm just struggling on a regular basis to deal with Brighton at prices like 1 to 3 favourites and odds on for over 3.5 goals in the game and things like this. It starts to turn me away from the Brighton side of things because I think they are getting too short in various markets. I mean, they have had 22 goals in the 5 games they've been involved in. Every one of them has been both teams to score. Every one of them has been over 3.5 goals. They've won 4 out of 5 games. So I do get why the books are so short on Brighton. I just struggle with it. And I'm really struggle from week to week with Brighton to try and find a pick that I like and that I really have a strong fancy for. But I've found something here. Every one of their games, as I say, has gone over 3.5 goals and 22 goals in total in Brighton games. Do you know how many of those 22 goals, Malcolm, came in the first half?
4.
5.
Oh, good guess.
22 goals in Brighton games, 5 in the first half, 17 in the second half.
Okay.
Every one of the 5 games has had a single goal in the first half. And then it's the second half where they're getting loads of late goals and other teams are getting on the score sheet against them. So second half to be the highest scoring half at even money.
Oh.
It's a 3-way market, so you can't have the tie. You know, if it's 1-0 first half, 1-0 second half, you'd lose it. But we're hoping for something like a single goal or a 0-0 by half time, and then off we go. But I just think with that form, 5 to 17 is the current tallies.
Yeah.
They're outscoring, 3-1 in second half goals. So yeah, second half in the Brighton Bournemouth game, second half to be the highest scoring at even money.
That is 1,000,000% the arse sniffer of the week, Baz. You've absolutely dug that one out. Well done. Okay, we move on. We might have to get a bit of a wiggle on here, Baz. Time's pressing. It was probably my Jumanji lifestyle chat at the start. Chelsea against Aston Villa. The game that Shane wants to know about. Chelsea are 5-6 -120. The draw is 14-5 +280. Villa are 14-5 +280, Barry.
Yeah, so I say the same here as I said for Man United. Chelsea at odds on, not a chance, not for me. 1 win in 5, failed to score in the last 2 games against Bournemouth and Forest. Statistically, they've had one of the easiest set of opening fixtures in the league, but they're sitting here on just 5 points from it, with the only win coming against Luton. And Villa have been a really mixed bag. They conceded 8 goals in the 2 defeats to Liverpool and Newcastle. But in the other 3 games, they've scored 10 and conceded just 1. One of the problems they've got is getting Watkins into any kind of form. It's amazing that they've scored so many goals, scored 11 in 5, and Watkins hasn't got a single one yet. He did score a hat-trick against Hibs in the Europa League. But as I say, they're scoring without him, so it's not a massive concern. But it makes me think if they can get him firing, it'll be in a really, really good place. Really easy one for me, this, Malcolm. Purely on the prices. 3-1 for Villa to beat Chelsea. Just give me that. Simple as that. So Villa to beat Chelsea 3-1 is the pick for me all day long.
I think it's Liam not asking, not Shane, about the Villa. But yeah, my pick's the same, Baz. I think it had to be anyone with half a brain who sat down and looked at this would pick Aston Villa. That's what Liam mentioned. He said Villa have got to be the punt of the week. Chelsea 1 win against Luton. Still waiting to see an improvement, and the lack of a strike is absolutely killing them. It's those 2 away defeats that you make you scratch your head a bit about Villa. I don't quite know what's happened there. Yeah. However, I'm happy to give them a chance. And the other fly in the ointment is the trip to Poland this week. They go to Poland in the Europa because they're in conference. Yeah, they go to Poland, so we don't know how that's going to affect it. But yeah, you've got no other choice but to take Villa. At a price of 3-1, which is bigger than the price I had. So I'll take your price, Baz. The penultimate game is Liverpool against West Ham United. Liverpool 9-20, -222. The draw is 15-4 +375. West Ham United are 5-1. So Liverpool came from behind for the 3rd time this season, winning at Wolves last week. And they've only kept 1 clean sheet. 4 out of 5 games have had both teams to score. 4 out of 5 games have had over 2.5. Both of those things are reflected in the prices. Van Dijk is back. I think will help a little bit for them. Trent's got a question mark next to his name. West Ham lost to Manchester City, but they're playing well. Ward-Prowse has been really good, make a difference. I still don't think West Ham are very good. Will change your mind if they're still good in 3 or 4 weeks, but I do think they're going to regress a little bit to the mean. However, spirits are high, and they'll have a go here. This is the one that I picked the same as Man United, Baz. West Ham are going to score, but Liverpool are going to win the game. It's going to be another 2-1, 3-1. So Liverpool to win with both teams to score is 13-8 +162. If you play that and the Man United, one of them is going to hit, Baz, and you'll end up in a bit of profit.
Yeah, I don't mind that one on this game, far more than the Man United game. I'm not going to go through loads of it. In the interest of speeding things up, you've covered a lot of what I said. But it's another one where I found something a bit different and one that the stats sort of lean into. So you'd mentioned 4 out of 5 to the overs, 4 out of 5. I think both teams to score has landed in Liverpool games. 5 out of 5 in West Ham games, actually. But I found something else. 4 out of 5 games so far. And that's Liverpool conceding in the first half. 4 out of 5 games. And West Ham have scored in first half in 4 out of the 5 games. So that's a pick for me. Liverpool, they've gone behind 3 times this season. Wolves went up against them. Newcastle went up against them. Bournemouth did it. So they do keep coming back in games. But but I'm taking West Ham to score in the first half against Liverpool at 6-4. And when West Ham do score and go 1-0 up, that's when you get on Liverpool to win at whatever price you get at that point.
Right.
But yeah, it's one I like. As I say, they've conceded in the first half in 4 of their 5 games so far. Why not again? That's
another beautifully fetched out pick. You come to these, see a lot of these games where you're trying to find an angle in, and then suddenly, like the amount of times you say something and I get the light bulb, like, yeah, I wish I was good enough to get that. That's a great pick, Pass. Final game is the 4:30 Sunday game, 11:30 Eastern, between Sheffield United and Newcastle United. Sheffield United are 11-2 plus 550. The draw is 7-2 plus 350. Newcastle 11-25 minus 227. Barry.
Yeah, so I'm intrigued, first of all, to see the lineup from Newcastle. I think there's got to be a few changes, given that I thought they looked absolutely wrecked at the end of yesterday's game. And to be fair, both sides did. AC Milan equally, last 5 minutes, looked absolutely exhausted. But Newcastle have got a midweek game against Man City next week as well. So I think we could see a few changes here. Barnes, Anderson, possibly Hall and or Livramento could come in. I would like to see them come in, given the money we've spent, and we've not really seen them yet. I think they'll need to freshen things up, and I'd be amazed if they don't make a few changes. I mean, it's a big enough break, don't get me wrong, Tuesday to Sunday, but factoring in the fact we've then got Man City, Burnley, and then Paris Saint-Germain, it's just this is the start of a really busy period, and tiredness could play a factor, really. And Sheffield United will obviously look to seize on that and seize any signs of any weakness if Newcastle do come in a bit sluggish. Back-to-back clean sheets for Newcastle. Yesterday's was a big effort, but I just think potential changes at the back for Newcastle. I can see Sheffield United scoring again here. Despite them sitting on just 1 point, they've scored in each of their last 4 games now, including games against Man City and Spurs. I took the same pick last week. I took both teams to score in the Sheffield United-Spurs game, and I got lucky in that one, but not because Sheffield United couldn't get it, but because Spurs left it so late. So the pick for me, Sheffield United versus Newcastle, is both teams to score at 4-5 minus 125.
Well, we both can win, Baz, but I've handicapped this a little bit differently from you. Sheffield United have been okay. They lost 4 games by 1 goal, so competitive, and they have scored 4 in a row. Newcastle's 1-0 win against Brentford was much needed last weekend, just settled everyone down a little bit. It was a rare clean sheet, but then we backed it up with another clean sheet against Milan in the week. And I think that's the key bit of information for this, is that Newcastle sort of back to defending properly, back-to-back clean sheets. I don't want to take Newcastle at that short a price. The over is too short. The Newcastle team total was too short. We don't look like battering teams so far. We mentioned a lot that Newcastle were capable of putting up 4, 5, 6 goals last year. We haven't looked like it. I think if Newcastle can defend properly, I can see them grind it out to 1-0 or a 2-0. Especially, as you said, there's going to be changes in that team as well. So it might just be a little bit disjointed. I'm going to take the under 2.5, which is too big a price. It's plus 130, 13-10. So we can win, Baz. If we get the ones each, we can both win. But I'd rather win my way. I'm sure you'd probably rather win my way as well. Get the 3 points for Newcastle with a 1-0 or a 2-0 win. Over under 2.5, 13-10, plus 130. And that's got us to the end, Baz. Dog, goal scorer, parlay, what you got?
Let's throw them out here. Underdog is Aston Villa, 3-1. Dead simple. What's your underdog? Because I need to price up my scorer. I've got it written down, but I haven't got the price.
My underdog, Baz, is Bournemouth, 13-2. We're going to go into Brighton and turn them over. We can all put our penises away, and that'll be the end of that for another few weeks. Yeah, I'll take Bournemouth. For my parlay out, if you're pricing up, money line, straight money line. On the grounds I never win these, I've stopped trying to do anything fans. I just write stuff down now out at speed. Crystal Palace, Man United, Liverpool, Newcastle, plus 639. So what, 5.5 to 1, that kind of thing. For my 4-teamer.
Nice. You got a scorer?
No, I've got a scorer, Baz. Right back to the first game. Crystal Palace are going to give Fulham a little bit of welly. Eze has been playing really well. He's come very, very close on more than one occasion. He's 6-1 to score first and last, and he's 12-5 plus 240 anytime goal scorer. I think it's his turn this weekend. Just as Moonaf joins us for the last 30 seconds of the show. Get your pen out, Moonaf. Write this shit down so you don't have to bother me all weekend. Go on, Baz.
Yeah, so I've got my score as Mbeumo in the Brentford v Everton game. He's just a constant threat for Brentford. He looked dangerous against us. He's always quick on the counter attacks, and he might catch them out. 7-4 plus 175 for Mbeumo as an anytime scorer. He's also 9-2 first scorer, 9-2 last scorer. And my parlay, my ACCA is a treble. 4-1 treble. I've gone for both teams to score treble this week. Something I've not done before, but there hasn't been a lot of clean sheets around Premier League this season. So I'm going to go both teams to score in the Palace v Fulham game, Brentford v Everton, and Arsenal v Spurs. That's a 4-1 treble, plus 400. So yeah, both teams to score, Palace, Fulham, Brentford, Everton, Arsenal, Spurs at 4-1.
Okay, love all of that, Baz. Moonaf's been trolling me all day today, Barry, and he's just joined here just to try again. He's got sand in his vagina about something today, and I don't know what it is, but he has not left me alone, and he's still going. I refuse to bite any of your silliness, Moonaf. Looks like, Barry, the story of the container full of Lego is going to have to wait for another week.
To be honest, we never get much spare time on the Wednesday night show, because we've got 10 Premier League games to cover, and you spent 10 minutes talking about what a terrible father you are.
I was just what a terrible man I am, not a terrible father. Well, the kids thought all of this was hilarious.
So we'll get it out there on Sunday.
We'll have another go on Sunday. Right, thanks everyone for listening. Thanks everyone who joined and chirped in the chat. I'm Moonaf. If you want to go and listen to some MLB in an hour, me and Lunty are going to give out 15 winners or thereabouts. Good luck with all your picks. Thank you very much, Barry. We'll be back. Reckon Sunday night, Baz? Watch a bit of Red Zone and make some picks.
Sunday night, 8:30.
Sunday night, 8:30. Roger that. Good luck, everyone. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you down the road. Cheers.